Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we'll be discussing what the Smiler possibly could have looked like judging by the original concept art, and maybe what could have been if there was only more investment put into the Smiler. Now, for most people, when anybody even remotely mentions the name the Smiler, most people get flashbacks to, of course, a certain event that happened in 2015. And of course, certainly another thing people do not get flashbacks to is of course the Smiler's theming. Now the Smiler's theming is actually very minimal. Besides the marmalizer in the centre that acts as a centrepiece, the Smiler's theming is actually quite minimal. It's normally just concrete walls and that's it. So today I will be looking at what could have been with the Smiler's theming from its original concept art that was released during the construction. Now this concept art, of course, probably dates round back to 2011, maybe even 2010, and as I said, this is official original concept art that was released for the Smiler. So without further ado, let's have a look at some concept art. Now I apologise for my interruption here, we're not going into the concept art just yet. But of course, I just want to take this moment to remind you to subscribe if you are new to the channel, and of course subscribe for great theme park related videos, and of course any other stuff if I feel like it. But without further ado, let's actually get on to looking at some concept art. Now of course the first one here looks to be like the station for the Smiler of what could have been, and it looks to be taking a much more experimental surgical approach here. It kind of reminds me a bit like a rundown hospital, maybe a rundown mental asylum, or even maybe just a gone wrong testing facility. Now of course, as you can see, this does contrast with the original station, as the original has gone for much brighter colours, whereas this one seems to be a lot more pipework and dark lit colours, with the tarpauling, well not tarpauling, but the plastic sheeting being quite a predominant thing in the station, just to probably give up more of that experimental testing facility vibes. Now here we have the next concept art, and to me this would seem like it would be the optical procedure room in the Smiler's queue. This seems like it would have been, this room would have been that if had the plans gone differently. But to me it looks a bit more like a waiting room that you go obviously to before you get checked up by a doctor or something like that, but a bit obviously not a normal waiting room, a quite run down and cynical evil waiting room. Now this room does look quite a lot similar like to the start of the Saw Alive horror maze, which was taken from the first bathroom scene. It just looks a bit similar, like broken tiles on the wall and just like a general eerie vibe of that something is about to go wrong. Now of course this piece of concept art does actually look quite similar to another photo. It actually reminds me a lot like the photo that was quite used to promote the Sanctuary maze. Now this Sanctuary was a scare maze obviously related to the Smiler story, and they did have one quite iconic photo of like a sort of doctor standing behind like very bright light with plastic sheeting on the walls, providing a experimental theme. And it does look quite a lot like that. So maybe this would be like the sort of doorway out of the waiting room that we just saw and up the stairs, and it would maybe have a very bright light, and obviously you do all the such things as like dropping your bag off before you head up to this station. Now of course we all recognise this one. This is of course a marmalizer leg from the concept art, and as you can see it somewhat did come to fruition. Obviously the difference is maybe it was a bit dark on the leg in the concept art compared to the actual thing, and by the looks of it I think there seems to be a bit more detail on the leg in the concept art than in real life, with the fluorescent green tubing going into the inoculator as they did call it. Now here we have the final piece of concept art, and what I can only assume must be some sort of head chopper moment here. Maybe you'd be going on one of the airtime hills under this, swooping under as like a sort of near miss, which would of course I think personally would have really enhanced the ride. Or maybe this could be like the acting as the halfway point. Instead of just the screens, maybe they'd have that and like rotating saw blades. Like, oh no, you're gonna get chopped up or something. Or maybe, as I said, it could have just been a head chopper. For maybe, I'm assuming, probably one of the airtime hills, as that would have been the best moment as you're about to fly out, or at least feel like you're going to fly out. And what not better way to almost feel like you're about to collide into some rotating saw blades? Seems familiar? Yes. So now, of course, you have made it to the end of the video of me taking a look at what could have been from the Smiler, with how it could have been differently themed, and how it could have, by looks of it, had so much more detail input into the ride, if there of course probably wasn't budget cuts. But yes, as I said, I found this quite interesting to research, looking at different concept arts, and I hope you did too, finding out about different concept arts of the Smiler. So, as I said, this is the end of the video. I really did hope you enjoy, and if you enjoyed, why not subscribe? It's free, and of course, if you find me annoying later on, you can always unsubscribe, but be careful, I'll get the Nemesis fanboys on you. But enough joking around. I've been Speckhead, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Moving fresh, X sector in the coolest creps. Man gets spun.